to CNSDR, Creative Non-Sleep Deep Rest. This is a Newsflash episode. In a moment, you'll hear a short science summary, a single finding distilled and clear, followed by a guided vision practice built around what the research reveals. You can use this session however it serves you. Let it carry you into sleep, or stay with the imagery and let your inner vision work with what the science opened up. Either way is right. Get comfortable, settle in. We'll begin shortly.
CNSDR Newsflash, this is episode 2, and tonight we're going somewhere very old. On February 26, 2025, the journal Nature published a paper with a title that sounded modest. It read, "Humans in Africa's Wet Tropical Forests, 150,000 years ago." That title doesn't sound like it should change anything, but it does. Before this paper, the oldest confirmed evidence for humans living in African rainforests was approximately 18,000 years old. The oldest evidence from any rainforest anywhere on Earth was about 70,000 years, from a cave in Sumatra. Those were the numbers. That was the science. For decades. This paper says 150,000, not 70,000, not 18,000, 150,000 years of continuous human presence in one of the densest tropical rainforests on the planet. More than double the previous record. And the evidence isn't ambiguous. The site is called Bete 1. It sits within the Anyama locality near Abidjan in Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast of West Africa. The research was led by Özlem Ben Arus and Eleanor Scarry, both of the Max Planck Institute of Geoanthropology in Jena, Germany, in partnership with l'Université Félix Houphouët-Boigny in Abidjan. And here's something you should know about this site. It was first excavated in 1982. A joint Ivorian-Soviet archaeological mission, led by Professor François Yodé-Guédé, dug a step trench 14 meters into the earth, roughly the height of a 4-story building. They recovered stone tools from several layers, picks, smaller implements, clear evidence of deliberate manufacture. But in 1982, the dating technology didn't exist to determine how old those layers actually were. So the tools were cataloged, stored, and largely forgotten. The site waited. For over 40 years, it waited. When Ben Arus and Scarry's team returned to Anyama with modern technology, they applied 2 independent dating methods. The first is called optically stimulated luminescence, OSL. It works on a principle that sounds almost poetic. When mineral grains are buried in the earth, they accumulate trapped electrons from background radiation. The longer they sit in the dark, the more electrons accumulate. When you stimulate those grains with light in a laboratory, they release the stored energy as a faint glow. The brighter the glow, the longer they've been waiting. In other words, the method measures how long something has been waiting to see the light again. The second method, electron spin resonance, or ESR, works similarly but measures unpaired electrons trapped in crystal defects. It's non-destructive, and it confirmed the OSL dates independently. Both methods pointed to the same number, 150,000 years. But dating the tools was only half the question. The other half, what was the environment like when those tools were made? Because if it was grassland or open woodland 150,000 years ago, the finding wouldn't overturn the barrier hypothesis. It would just be early humans doing what we already expected them to do, living on open ground. So the team ran 3 independent environmental analyses. Pollen analysis identified the plant species present in the sediment layers, wet tropical rainforest species. Phytolith analysis, the study of microscopic silica bodies left behind by plants, confirmed forest-type vegetation. And leaf wax biomarker analysis examined carbon isotope ratios in ancient plant compounds. Carbon-13 ratios can distinguish between C3 plants, which dominate in forests, and C4 plants, which dominate in grasslands. All 3 methods agreed. Dense, wet, tropical rainforest. Not savanna, not woodland edge, rainforest. 150,000 years ago. To understand why this matters, you need to understand the model it replaces. For most of the 20th century, the dominant theory in paleoanthropology went like this. Humans evolved on the African savanna. Open grassland, scattered trees, big sky, long sight lines. Our upright posture, our distance vision, our endurance running, all adaptations to open landscapes. The story of human evolution was a story of the plains. In this model, forests were obstacles. Dense canopy blocked the sun. Large game was scarce. Toxic plants were everywhere. Disease burden was high. The assumption, and it was an assumption, not a finding, was that early humans avoided forests or entered them only as a last resort, only very recently. This assumption was so embedded in the field that it shaped where people looked. If you assume humans didn't live in forests, you don't dig in forests. And if you don't dig in forests, you don't find evidence of humans in forests. For decades, the absence of evidence was treated, circularly, as evidence of absence. But Bété I is not the only site that breaks this model. It's the oldest, but it is part of a chain, a global chain of evidence that has been assembling itself site by site, continent by continent, for the past decade. In Sumatra, at a cave called Lida Ager, 2 human teeth were found in deposits rich with orangutan fossils, orangutans being an unambiguous indicator of closed canopy rainforest. The teeth were originally excavated by Eugène Dubois, the same man who discovered Java Man, in the late 1880s. They sat in museum collections for over a century. It wasn't until 2017 that uranium series and ESR dating confirmed them as Homo sapiens, dated to between 73,000 and 63,000 years ago. Humans. In rainforest. 73,000 years ago. And the evidence had been sitting in a drawer since the Victorian era. In Laos, at a cave called Tam Pa Ling, which translates to Cave of the Monkeys, a human leg bone was found 7 meters deep in sediment. Luminescence dating placed it at 86,000 years ago. A skull and 2 partial mandibles were found in the same sequence, spanning 56,000 years of continuous or repeated human presence at a single site. In Borneo, at Naya Cave, the deep skull, the oldest anatomically modern human remains from island Southeast Asia, was accompanied by microlithic tools dated to 65,000 years ago, along with evidence that early humans had developed techniques to detoxify rainforest plants for food. They weren't just surviving in the forest, they were learning its chemistry. In Sri Lanka, at Fa Hien Lina Cave, researchers found 130 projectile points carved from bone, 48,000 years old, the oldest evidence for bow and arrow use outside Africa. They also found shell beads and shark tooth pendants from 38,000 years ago, among the earliest symbolic artifacts outside the African continent. Not just tools, jewelry, identity, culture. And in Brazil, at Pedra Pintada, the Painted Rock Cave, Anna Roosevelt's team found stone projectile points alongside ancient remains of palm seeds, Brazil nuts, and fish, dated to 11,200 years ago, the same time that other humans were hunting mammoths on the Great Plains of North America. 2 completely independent human cultures existing simultaneously on the same continent, one on open grassland hunting megafauna, one deep in tropical rainforest eating nuts and fish, neither more advanced than the other, both fully human, both fully adapted to their world. And then there's the study that came out this month, May 2026, published in Nature Ecology and Evolution. An international team used zinc isotope analysis of tooth enamel from human and animal remains in Sri Lanka, spanning 20,000 to 3,000 years ago, and found something remarkable. Rainforest humans were gradually increasing their consumption of plants, not suddenly, not as a revolution, gradually, over thousands of years, beginning in the late Pleistocene, long before the first domesticated crops appeared in the region. The standard narrative says agriculture was invented, a sudden cognitive leap, a revolution. But the zinc isotopes tell a different story. The forest was teaching, the humans were learning, and neither side knew it was a lesson. So here is the picture as of tonight. Humans did not avoid forests. Humans did not stumble into forests recently and reluctantly. Humans thrived in the densest, wettest, most complex ecosystems on Earth for at least 150,000 years. They made tools in the green dark. They carved arrows from bone. They strung beads from shell. They detoxified plants. They learned which seeds to keep. They taught their children. And the forest held all of it, in its soil, in its sediment, waiting. That is the news. And now, we're going to go there. The canopy of a West African tropical rainforest can be 45 meters high. Beneath it, only about 2% of sunlight reaches the forest floor. The light that does arrive has been filtered through so many layers of chlorophyll that it shifts into the green spectrum. It's not a metaphor. The air really is green. At Pha Hien Lena in Sri Lanka, continuous occupation has been documented from approximately 47,000 years ago through to recent millennia. That's not a campsite, that's a home. Tens of thousands of years in the same forest, in the same cave, using the same kinds of tools, generation after generation after generation. The phytolith analysis at EP2 identified plant species consistent with what botanists call a closed canopy evergreen rainforest. That means no gaps, no clearings, continuous overhead cover. The forest floor is a world of filtered green twilight, even at noon. To live there is to live inside something. The barrier hypothesis assumed that humans needed open landscapes to thrive, that our visual system, our bipedal locomotion, our hunting strategies all required savanna conditions. But the bone arrowheads at Pha Hien Lena tell a different story. Those points were designed for hunting small arboreal prey in dense canopy: monkeys, squirrels, birds. You don't need a long sightline to hunt a monkey. You need patience, precision, knowledge of where it sleeps, what it eats, when it moves. You need to know the forest from inside. The stone tools recovered from EP2 include picks and smaller implements consistent with multi-purpose forest use, processing plants, working wood, preparing materials. They show clear evidence of deliberate knapping, the intentional fracture of stone at controlled angles to produce a working edge. Every one of them was made by a hand that knew exactly what it was doing. The term anatomically modern humans means exactly what it sounds like. Same brain volume, same skeletal structure, same hand morphology, same vocal apparatus. If you passed a 150,000-year-old human on the street today, you would not notice anything unusual. They are us. We are them. The only difference is time. In the May 2026 study, the zinc isotope ratios showed something unexpected. The relationship between humans and the forest wasn't static. It was evolving. Slowly, over thousands of years, humans were learning more about plants. Which ones to eat, which ones to process, which ones to return to season after season. The forest wasn't just a backdrop, it was a teacher, and the students didn't even know they were enrolled. The EP2 findings were published in Nature on February 26, 2025, by a team led by Eslem Ben Arous and Eleanor Scarry of the Max Planck Institute of Geoanthropology, in partnership with l'Université Félix Houphouët-Boigny. The May 2026 zinc isotope study was published in Nature Ecology and Evolution. Both papers are freely accessible. The evidence now spans 6 sites across 4 continents, from Côte d'Ivoire to Sumatra, from Laos to Sri Lanka, from Borneo to the Amazon. 150,000 years of humans in forests, making tools, carving arrows, stringing beads, learning which plants to eat, teaching their children, being held by the ground. The forest didn't stop us, it shaped us. This has been CNSDR Newsflash, Episode 2, The Forest That Remembered Us.
Close your eyes. Let whatever you were just listening to settle. Not the facts, the weight of the facts, the number, the time. Let it rest somewhere in your body without needing to hold it in your mind. The air around you has changed. You might not have noticed it, but it's heavier now, warmer. There's moisture in it, not rain, not yet, but the memory of rain. The kind of air that touches the inside of your lungs when you breathe. Your weight is here. Feel it, your actual weight, pressing into whatever is holding you. The chair, the floor, the bed. Whatever is beneath you right now, it is holding all of you. It didn't ask to. It isn't straining. It just holds. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a forest. Not a forest you've seen before. This one is older than language, older than fire making, older than the idea that forests are places you visit and leave. The canopy above you is so dense that the light reaching the ground is green. Not sunlight filtered through leaves, green light, as if the air itself has color. It falls on your skin the way water falls. You can almost feel it pooling in the hollows of your collarbones. Step in. The ground under your feet is soft, layered. Thousands of years of leaves falling on leaves, turning to soil, feeding roots that feed trees that drop more leaves. Your weight presses into it slightly, and the ground holds you without effort. The smell arrives in a chord, not a single note. Wet bark, decomposing leaves, something sweet and floral from high in the canopy that you can't see, something mineral from the soil beneath you. Every breath you take contains something that was alive yesterday. Spores, pollen, the exhalation of trees older than any human structure. Move deeper. The path isn't marked. There was no one to mark it. But the ground tells you where others have walked. There are slight depressions, smoothed stones, places where the undergrowth thins because something large passed through here many times. You are not the first person in this forest. You are not the 100th. You are not the 1,000th. Notice if something in your body responds to that. Not the idea of it, the duration of it. 47,000 years in one place. What does your body do with a number like that? The forest around you is breathing. You can hear it if you slow down enough. Not wind. There is no wind at the forest floor. The canopy absorbs it. What you hear is the forest itself. The slow expansion and contraction of air between the trees. The moisture cycling through leaf and soil and root and sky. A pulse, not fast, not demanding, patient. You are inside something now. The forest is not around you. You are in it, the way a fish is in water. The air touches you from every direction. The sound comes from above, beside, below. The green light falls on your hair, your eyelids, the back Notice if that feels like too much. If your body wants to pull back, find an edge, see the sky. That impulse, the one that wants open space and clear sight lines, notice it. It's real, it's old, and it may not be the whole story. The ground beneath your feet shifts, slightly downward now. You're descending, not steeply, but enough that your body adjusts, finds a new balance, leans back into gravity. The soil is darker here, wetter. You can see where roots have broken through the surface and then plunged back down, like the spines of something vast turning slowly underground. Ahead of you, the green light gathers into something warmer, a patch of gold. Not sunlight exactly, but the memory of sunlight that has traveled through so many leaves, it has turned to amber. It falls on a clearing, not a clearing made by anything, just a place where one old tree fell and left a gap that the forest hasn't closed yet. There is something in the ground, not buried deliberately, not hidden, just returned, given back to the soil the way a leaf is given back. It's been down there for a very long time, and the earth has been holding it the way the earth holds everything, without opinion, without condition, without forgetting. Kneel down if you can. If your body allows it, bring your hands to the soil. Feel the temperature of it, cooler than the air, but not cold. Damp. There is life in the first inch of this soil. Fungi threading through it like a nervous system. Roots finer than hair. The ongoing, unhurried conversation of decay and growth. Your fingers find something smooth, warm, warmer than the soil around it, as if it has been holding its own heat for a long time. It fits your palm the way certain stones do, not accidentally, but because a hand shaped it to fit a hand. You're holding a stone tool. It was made by a person whose name no language can recover. Shaped, struck, turned, struck again until it fit the task and fit the hand. And then it was used and worn and eventually set down or dropped or placed. And then the leaves covered it and the soil closed over it, and it waited. 150,000 years of waiting, and you just picked it up. Feel the weight of it. It isn't heavy, most stone tools aren't, but the weight has a density that feels different from the weight of something manufactured. This weight is specific, particular. It belongs to this stone and no other. The hand that made this tool was the same size as yours, the same 5 fingers, the same opposable thumb, the same sensitivity in the fingertips that lets you feel the grain of the stone, the edge where it was struck, the smooth plane where it was used. There is nothing about that hand that would mark it as different from yours. Nothing about the brain that directed it. Nothing about the body that carried it through this forest, under this canopy, in this green light, breathing this same humid air. Turn the stone in your hand. Let your thumb find the edge, there where it was struck. You can feel the conchoidal fracture, the way the stone broke in a curved shell when it was hit at just the right angle with just the right force. Someone knew how to do that. Someone taught someone who taught someone who taught someone, back and back and back through more generations than you can hold in your mind. You are still kneeling. The stone is warm in your hand. The forest around you is breathing. You can hear it now, the way you hear your own breathing when you finally get quiet enough. The canopy moves, not with wind, with its own rhythm, slowly, the way a sleeping animal moves. The amber light is warmer now. It falls on the back of your hand, on the stone, on the dark soil around your knees. It is the same light that fell on the hand that made this tool, filtered through the same kind of canopy, landing on the same kind of skin. Something in the forest around you is very still, not empty, the opposite of empty, full, attentive, as if the trees have noticed that someone has picked up the stone. All those years the scientists spent looking on the savanna, all those decades of assuming the forest was hostile, that we were grassland creatures who wandered into the trees by accident, and underneath their feet the whole time, 14 meters down, 73,000 years deep, 150,000 years patient, the forest was holding the evidence, holding the tools, holding the teeth, holding the beads, waiting for someone to dig deep enough to find them. There is something the forest knows about you that you may have forgotten. I'd like to try something with you, a small experiment. In a moment, I'm going to say a single sentence, not to convince you of anything, just to see what happens. Your only job is to notice what your body does when it hears it, not what you think about it. What happens, where it lands, what moves, what tightens, what opens, what resists. That's the whole experiment. Just notice. The soil is holding you right now, and it held them too. The same soil, the same patience. You didn't apply for this. Your breath is arriving the same way it arrived in lungs that knelt here 150,000 years before yours. The forest remembered you. The forest remembered you. The forest remembered you. Whatever just moved, that's yours. The sentence was just the instrument. Your body's response is the reading. If something tightened, that's data. If something softened, that's data. If nothing happened, that's data too. There is no wrong response. Your body answered honestly. That's all this was.
Forest remembered you. The forest remembered you. The forest remembered you. remembered you, remembered you. The forest remembered you, the forest remembered you, the forest remembered you, remembered you. The forest remembered you, the forest remembered you. You were remembered. You were always remembered. The forest remembered you. The forest remembered you. The forest remembered you. You were remembered. You were always remembered. The forest remembered you. Remembered you. Remembered.
And sometimes, after something has been said, the landscape holds still, not waiting for a response, just settling around what was spoken. In forest ecology, shed bark isn't loss, it's how the tree grows. The inner wood expands, the outer layer releases. Not broken off, released. What falls becomes the floor. What was boundary becomes ground. Not instruction, recognition. The object doesn't carry the belief, it carries the noticing.
Stay here. The forest isn't asking anything of you right now. But I want you to notice something. Not something new. Something that was already there before the words came. Somewhere near you, maybe at your feet, maybe just beside your hand, maybe resting against the root you've been sitting near this whole time. There is a piece of bark, curved, smooth on the inside, rough on the outside. It didn't fall just now, it's been here. The moss has already begun to claim its edges. The rain has already softened it. It has been part of this ground longer than you've been aware of it. You don't need to pick it up, but notice your hand might already be near it. If you do touch it, and only if something in you wants to, feel the difference between the two sides. The outside, weather-marked, textured, the side that faced the world. The inside, pale, smooth, still holding the shape of the trunk it once wrapped around. This is not a gift. The forest didn't place it here for you. It was here before you arrived. It will be here after you leave. But you noticed it now, and that noticing, that quiet recognition, that is what this piece of bark holds for you. Not a message, not a belief, not something to remember, to think, just the shape of what you noticed. The forest remembered you. noticed that it did. And this small curved thing that was already on the ground is the evidence. You might find it later, not the bark itself, but the shape of it, in a curled leaf on a sidewalk, in the curve of a ceramic bowl, in the way a page bends when a book is left open. And when you notice it, you won't need to recite anything. You won't need to believe anything. Your body will simply, for a moment, return to this ground, to the place where the forest's remembering was not an idea you had, but a weight you felt. So let it rest where it is, or let your hand close gently around it. Either way, it's already yours, not because you chose it, because you recognized it. The inside of the bark, smooth, pale, shaped like what it once held, is the side that faces you now, the side that was hidden, the side that touched the living wood. That's the part you noticed. Stay with that for a moment longer. Nothing more is being asked.
And sometimes, after something has been said, the landscape holds still, not waiting for a response, just settling around what was spoken. In forest ecology, shed bark isn't loss. It's how the tree grows. The inner wood expands, the outer layer releases, not broken off, released. What falls becomes the floor. What was boundary becomes ground. Not instruction, recognition. The object doesn't carry the belief, it carries the noticing.
You are still kneeling. The stone is still in your hand. The forest is still breathing around you. Nothing has changed, except that something was said, and your body heard it. And whatever happened is now part of you in the way that weather is part of you. It came through. It left something. You can set the stone down whenever you're ready, not because you're done with it, but because it was never yours to keep. It belongs to the ground. You're just the next person to hold it for a while. Place it back in the soil. Feel the coolness of the earth receive it. Feel your hand come away lighter. Stand up slowly. Let the blood return to your legs. Feel the ground take your full weight again. The same ground, the same patience, the same willingness to hold whatever is placed on it. The green light is softer now. The canopy is dimming the way a room dims when someone turns a lamp down slowly. The rain has eased to a mist. You can feel it on the fine hairs of your arms, not wet exactly, but present. The forest is touching you the way it touches everything, without asking, without needing a reason. Begin to walk back, not quickly. The path out doesn't require hurrying. Your footsteps fall into the soft ground, and the ground holds them for a moment, and then lets them go. Behind you, the soil is already beginning to close over where you knelt. The stone is already settling deeper. In 100 years, the leaves will have covered it again. In 1,000 years, no one will know you were here. But the forest will. The forest remembered you. Stay here as long as the remembering wants to stay.